Watching Fox 22. Now, they're in black. David Allen, Bobby Estel, and meteorologist Steve Swenkowski. This is North Carolina's only primetime newscast, the Fox 22 10 o'clock news.
Monday night, a teenager in Johnston County is sentenced for tossing a vase off an overpass.
And anticipation is high in Charlotte, with hopes it could be the home of a new football franchise.
But the big story tonight, a Durham teenager fights for his life as police search for his attackers. Good evening, I'm David Allen.
And I'm Varen Black. Detectives suspect the brutal robbery and shooting of 16-year-old Stephen Crane may be drug-related. Now, Fox 22's Sharon Crowley is standing by live in our newsroom to update us on this case. Sharon?
Varen, we're told that Stephen Crane is in critical condition at Duke Medical Center tonight. He is said to be paralyzed from the neck down and on a life support system. Now, Stephen Crane and his friend were apparently on their way home early Sunday morning when they took a detour which led them to violence. Words can't comfort 15-year-old Abby Crane. Her older brother is fighting for his life.
It's a shame. I mean, I don't see how somebody can just commit cold-blooded murder.
16-year-old Stephen Crane apparently left his Durham home Saturday night to pick up a friend from work. On the way home, his family says the car was stopped by a gang of young men at this Durham housing project. Stephen and his passenger were pulled from the car, beaten and robbed. Stephen was then shot in the head.
Kids are killing kids over a few dollars. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Police say Stephen Crane and his friend drove into this housing project sometime after midnight on Saturday night. The friend who was with Stephen at the time of the shooting says the boys drove in here to look at a truck they were considering buying. But the residents who witnessed the shooting say the boys were here for another reason.
Get some drugs. That's the only reason why. Which other reason they gonna come out here late at night for?
Meanwhile, Durham police say they are looking at all possibilities.
And we're trying to find out exactly why and how often they had been in the area.
Family members say Stephen was not involved in drugs. They say he was another victim of senseless violence. Well, tonight, police do not have any suspects. They say people appear to be afraid to come forward and give them information. This is Sharon Crowley reporting live from the newsroom.
Sharon, do police have any idea who they are looking for and how many people they're looking for?
Well, the latest word, Varen, is that they are looking from anywhere from 2 to 4 suspects. They say at least one of those suspects was armed at the time of the attack, and they say the men may have been masked.
All right, thank you so much. Sharon Crowley reporting live from our newsroom.
A judge in Johnston County throws the book at a young man who threw the granite cemetery vase from an I-95 overpass. Shane Beasley got the maximum sentence today for smashing the windshield of Ellie Daly's car and seriously injuring her. Fox 22's Nancy Byrne has our story.
Joseph Shane Beasley be confined to the Johnston County Jail for 10 years to be assigned to the North Carolina Department of Corrections.
Judge Henry Barnett Jr. said the court must set an example in the case of Shane Beasley. He said the unusual cruelty of his act warrants the maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. A bittersweet conclusion to the trial for the family and friends of victim Ellie Daly.
There were no winners in this situation. There's only losers. You know, you can't fix Ellie. You can't put her back. And Shane is going to have to pay a significant price for that.
What made this case so bad? It was a senseless act, and whether you call it atrocious, cruel, heinous, senseless, or whatever, it's aggravating. And I think that's what the judge found, what the jury found, and we're pleased with the outcome.
Beasley's attorney said he fully expected the maximum sentence, and so did Beasley.
I thought under the tremendous publicity this case has received and the horrible injuries incurred by Ellen Daly that the judge would probably impose a 10-year sentence. And my client was expecting that.
Right now, Beasley is being held in the Johnston County Prison, but he will be evaluated and assigned to a youth facility where, according to the district attorney, he could serve only 2 of his 10-year sentence before being released. In Smithfield, Nancy Byrne, Fox 22, 10 o'clock news.
Once Shane Beasley's released from prison, the judge ordered a portion of his paychecks go to help pay Ms. Daly's medical bills. So far, they have totaled more than $16,000. The sentence is 6 years for a Hillsborough man for his role in a high-speed chase that killed a motorist. Last March, Anthony Johnson led police on a chase on Highway 70 after they tried to pull him over for driving a stolen car. During the chase, police hit a driver and killed him. Johnston had been charged with involuntary manslaughter and possession of a stolen vehicle.
A woman accused of illegally monitoring phone calls between former Lieutenant Governor Jim Gardner and his son has pleaded guilty to federal charges. Beverly Smith could face a $5,000 fine and a year's probation. Prosecutors say she listened in on the conversations during last year's gubernatorial race, then fed transcripts to Governor Jim Hunt's campaign. A verdict could come tomorrow in the trial of 5 men accused of raping 2 sisters. The defendants hired one of the women to dance at a private party in Chapel Hill last November. Today, defense attorneys tried to have the case dismissed, saying there wasn't enough evidence to show that the women were forced into sex. While the judge denied the motion and testimony wrapped up in the trial today. Now, closing arguments are expected tomorrow, and the case could go to the jury.
Haiti's ousted President Jean-Bertrand Aristide is scheduled to speak to the United Nations this Thursday. He'll ask for international support for his return to Haiti under a UN-brokered peace plan. By that United Nations agreement, Aristide was to return to power by October 30th, but military leaders there are refusing to step down, throwing Aristide's scheduled return into question. Aristide was overthrown in a military coup back in 1991. Tonight, President Clinton is sounding a cautious tone on the subject of Haiti. At a press conference with Egypt's President Hosni Mubarak, the president defended U.S. involvement in the restoration of democracy in the Caribbean nation, but he's learned not to be too optimistic.
It's always hazardous to be hopeful about Haiti, but I do believe that some of the signs over the weekend were hopeful, that there was some outreach, some understanding that there has to be an accommodation here, and that is hopeful to me.
A UN envoy to Haiti is asking some world leaders to travel to Port-au-Prince tomorrow. That group includes former President Jimmy Carter. They would stand by Haitian lawmakers voting on measures needed for Aristide's return. Jesse Helms says he doesn't support either side of the Haitian standoff. Helms has been criticized by colleagues over his verbal attacks on Aristide. Helms has called Aristide a psychopath and a killer, and he says he has information from the CIA to back up his claims. But a spokesman for the senator says Mr. Helms cares not for Aristide nor the military dictatorship now in power.
Up next, another airfare war is underway, so you better act quickly.
The Triangle is flying high tonight. The area is considered among the best in the nation. And your child's school lunch is getting a failing grade on a nutrition test. Stay with us.
Breaking news, the best-selling car in America, Ford Taurus, is more affordable than ever because now every new Taurus sedan, wagon, and SHO comes with low 2.9% financing or $500 cash back. But only until Tuesday, November 2nd. Low 2.9 financing for up to 48 months from Ford Credit or $500 cash back. The best offer of the year on the airbag-equipped Ford Taurus. Repeat, this offer ends Tuesday, November 2nd. So for 2.9 financing or $500 cash back, see your participating Ford dealer today.
While growing up, the owners of Pet Depot Superstore raised birds, dogs, cats, and snakes. It's no wonder they own a pet store. Pet Depot Superstore is a locally owned and family-run pet store with knowledgeable personnel who have raised pets of their own. You'll find hand-raised birds and locally bred reptiles and animals. This ensures all the animals are stronger and healthier and preserves our environment. Pet Depot Superstore cares as much about your pet as you do. At Crossroads in Cary, Oak Creek Village in Durham, and Cherrymore Square on Capitol Boulevard, Raleigh.
The Fox 22 News is closed captioned for the hearing impaired.
A new national survey confirms what many Triangle residents suspected. The Places Rated Almanac ranks the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area as the top metropolitan area, the 6th best place in North America to live. The Almanac also calls the area an ideal place to start a new business. Fox 22's Steve Noble talked to 2 new residents who relocated after doing their own research.
If Gary Soderman looks like a happy man, well, he is. A Raleigh relocation has resulted in his own booming business for kids. His move to the Triangle came after methodical research.
I went to the library for a good 2 weeks, went through all the different various research books that they supplied, did charts, did everything, checked everything from business climates to family life to pollen count.
Soderman says the Triangle scored high in almost every way. When you look back, has the area lived up to your expectations?
I don't have any regrets about moving here. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
It's not just a nice place to raise a family. The Triangle also scores well in some areas that may surprise you. The arts, healthcare, and even crime rates.
It's a lot more safe. The crime level is drastically different between here and New York City.
New Yorker Adam Pittman relocated to start up a public computer facility.
My son is able to go outside and play when he wants. We used to live on the 22nd floor of a high-rise building. And, of course, he couldn't go down the elevator by himself at that time. So I think he's a lot happier. It's a lot easier to live here.
Both men say the survey results are no surprise, just confirmation of what they already knew. In Raleigh, Steve Noble, Fox 22, 10 o'clock news.
The survey ranked Cincinnati as the top metropolitan area. Last place went to Yuba City, California.
If you'd like to visit those cities, you can see why they're the best places to live. Get on a plane and fly there. Airfares are coming down. American, Delta, and United plan to match Northwest Airlines' decision to trim ticket prices by up to 40%. And this is for trips through mid-January. You better hurry. If you want to fly at these lower rates, you have to make reservations by Friday. And you can't travel on those busy, popular dates around the holidays. NBC has worked out its differences with a Greensboro eye clinic. Today, the clinic dropped its $6 million lawsuit against the network's news magazine, Dateline NBC. The Southeastern Eye Center sued the network after a May broadcast. Doctors charged that the show falsely alleged that they frequently performed needless cataract surgery on elderly patients. No money changed hands to settle the lawsuit.
The whole point and the whole purpose of all of this entire process has been to get our reputation back to where it was before Dateline hit us on May 4th, and we believe we did that.
NBC says it stands by its broadcast, but points out it did not accuse the physicians of actually performing the surgery. And what it did show was an undercover patient being told she needed the unnecessary surgery and then scheduling it for the next day.
Vice President Al Gore stopped in Charlotte today. He visited Northwest Middle School to talk with students and teachers about a successful dropout prevention program. It's called Cities in Schools, and it helps at-risk children stay in school by providing their families with the community services they need. The dropout program has a 96% success rate. The nation's school lunches are flunking on the subject of nutrition. A new study by the Agriculture Department says those lunches have too much salt and fat and not enough energy providing carbohydrates. Jean Meserve has more.
School lunches, often bad and almost always bad for you. A new study by the U.S. Department of Agriculture shows only 1% of USDA school lunch programs meet dietary goals set by USDA.
Overall, the report shows that 99% of our school meal programs fail to meet federal dietary guidelines. The meals exceed dietary guidelines for fat by 25%, saturated fat by 50%, and sodium by nearly 100%.
It was a decade ago that the nutritional deficiencies of school lunch programs were first exposed, and they have been documented several times since then.
How many more studies will USDA need before it's ready to take the kind of action that's needed to mandate that all school lunches meet the federal dietary guidelines?
USDA did recently double the amount